Today is April 6th, 2026, and it is episode 16 of the full Paycheck investing series. It's an exciting one today as I'll be investing my full 4.2K tax refund that I received on Friday, as well as this week's unemployment check of $1,152. I'll also be paying a credit card bill and an internet bill straight from my brokerage with a margin loan against my growing assets. Step by step, you'll see practically how I live out of my Robinhood brokerage account and invest 100% of my income. I'm truly paying myself first in the very real sense of the word. And yeah, as always, I'm doing this all uninterrupted in one take, and you'll get radical transparency on my channel. I share my real numbers, and you see exactly how much skin I have in the game with any given position. You can follow along my portfolio by checking the free Snowball portfolio link in the description below. And if you appreciate all the transparency, please give a like and subscribe if you want to see more of this content. As usual, a quick disclaimer, this video is for entertainment and education purposes only. I'm not a financial advisor, and nothing here should be taken as financial, investment, or tax advice. I'm simply sharing my personal investing journey and documenting my own results. Investing always carries risk, especially when using margin, and you can potentially lose money. Don't copy what I'm investing in blindly without understanding the risks and doing your own due diligence. No returns are guaranteed. For anyone that's new to the channel, so there's this little flow chart here, just a little refresher. I'm actually not going to talk through it today just because practically this video is all about this chart essentially. I'm basically kind of doing all these steps but live, and you can kind of see it all for yourself how it's working. So yeah, if you want to pause here, take a screenshot, take a look. But yeah, we're just going to dive right in and actually just kind of put this into practice really. So let's pop over to Robinhood. Surprisingly today, despite some crazy posts this weekend, the market is green. A lot of back and forth between Trump and Iran as far as like negotiations. Yeah, surprisingly green. Honestly, I thought it would start off red. A little bit of a bummer. Honestly, I was kind of looking forward to kind of buying a dip, but honestly, this is part of DCAing, right? Like I want to DCA whether the market is green or red. So today, maybe a little bit less excited because it's green, but I'm sure we can still find some little deals here and there. So you can kind of see the live view of my portfolio here. So first things first, let's just transfer over my unemployment check. So yeah, just as a quick reminder as well too, for the unemployment, I'm still having issues. Apparently the backlog before they actually give a manual review of my unemployment claims is 14 weeks. So I think we're on week 4 now. So maybe 10 more weeks before I even get paid. But as a stopgap measure, like I've mentioned in previous videos, I'm basically paying myself, quote unquote, and taking money out of the HELOC, exactly the money that I would have gotten this week. And then my plan is to, like, whenever unemployment does give me all my back pay for my 6 weeks that they haven't paid me, I'll just put that back into the HELOC and pay that off essentially. So yeah, just so I can kind of keep it going as if I'm getting unemployment. Unfortunate, but luckily I had that HELOC in the background to do this. I'll just transfer that over first things first. And also I'll transfer over my tax refund. You can kind of see it here. I transferred it to the cash account to hopefully get a little bit of interest there since I got it on Friday. So let's just transfer that over. So first things first, let's do the unemployment. So $1,152. Cool. Great, and get instant deposit, and cool. So I saw the update, and then let's transfer over my tax refund as well from the secondary brokerage account. And yeah, and if you need a little like mini tutorial on how I set this up, check out the video, the link at the top right there. So yeah, 4292. And let's transfer that over. Great. All right. So now that's all transferred over. You can kind of see that the amount has gone up, and they'll stay like that even though I invest it. And then the only time that will change is when I pay bills at the end there after I've kind of invested everything. You see the buying power went up here. So margin total went up, margin used went down, right? And yeah, and this is 42.6K in cash available. So this will go down as I kind of buy some positions and stuff. But yeah, let's just get started. So first things first, let's invest the $1,152 from the unemployment. And today I was kind of thinking, so if I look at like kind of the dividend calendar, I was kind of debating between CHPY and CHPY originally. Then since CHPY already got paid out and I like whatever I want to do, I still kind of want to get that in dividends this month. So I'm kind of leaning towards CHPY just because, yeah, XPay was maybe another potential there. But if I go over to my sheet here, so we can kind of see that XPay is actually back in the green and unrealized gains. So maybe not do XPay today, but CHPY still in the red here, 6.42%. Yeah, CHPY was the one that's the lowest out of like kind of the safer yielders, and I was almost leaning that. But since that already got paid out last week, I don't want to quite wait until next month to kind of get a return on my investment, essentially, right? And like SPY, this is only for the YouTube income. TDAC is kind of a little bit less down, even though it's still down. And QQQI as well, a little bit less down. So yeah, so I think I'm going to do CHPY over here and just kind of kind of buy a little bit of that dip from the semis, right? If we kind of look at where I bought, so kind of bought near the bottom here a little bit, just tiny buys, but yeah, so still a dip from when I did my big buy here, which is nice. So yeah, let's do that. So let's go to CHPY, and yeah, green day for it today, but still below my cost basis, which is nice. So do that. By CHPY. Cool. So you should see my buying power go down by exactly the amount that I used there. Cool. And then for my tax refund money. So I was thinking of doing 2 buys for that. So one, wanted to buy into gold. So I since late last year, I've basically been doing like a $200 a month buy into gold. That kind of replaced my $200 that I was kind of using to buy insurance for the month, right? Personally, I just didn't like kind of the feeling of wasting money when the market was kind of not red, like on the months that the market was in red. It just kind of felt bad to kind of throw away that money. So I'd kind of just rather just be investing it into assets. So yeah, just doing it into gold as like a little hedge. And yeah, it's just uncorrelated to the market. It of course can drop with the market sometimes, as we can kind of see, right? If we check there, but like, yeah, there was a big drop here at the end of March, but overall, like still pretty good overall, right? It's a big drop here. So yeah, I'm going to do gold. So let's do $200 here. And yeah, and if we actually take a quick look here of where my buys are at for gold, right? You can kind of see here, I've kind of bought on the way up in every month, right? And then yeah, still I bought the nice drop here, which was nice with one unemployment paycheck here. And so still from the low there, which is nice. So let's just do another $200 there. Cool. And let's actually bring up the calculator. 4292 minus 200. Great. So bought gold. And then, yeah. And then for the last buy here, I was talking in the last video how I'm definitely overexposed in tech, right? Like when you look at my holdings, right? Like there's tech or kind of just very tech adjacent things like VGT, QQQM, VU, SPMO, XPay, CHPY, YMX and Alti have a lot of tech stuff. TDAC, TSPY, SPY, QQQI. So a lot of tech. And I mean, even CLSC and OR, so those are long short, but there is some tech exposure there. But given that they're long short, I won't quite include them there. But I do want to kind of help diversify a little bit from tech. So again, I'm still buying some. Like I just bought CHPY, right? So a little bit of a tech buy there and buying the dip. But I'm thinking that I do want to just kind of keep investing into MLPI here. Great 15% yielder from Neos, and that's been doing well as well. So far with kind of like the energy trade this year, of course, with the conflict. And I guess what I like from this too is that it's a little bit less affected by the price of oil compared to something like WEI, which I'm also kind of looking into. I was kind of debating between WEI today and MLPI, but because I've been impressed by its consistent dividend when I was looking into this. But not going to quite get into this today. I just want to kind of do MLPI for today, but I'm kind of keeping this on my watch list, WEI. And shout out to Arcurus for kind of getting that on my radar. But yeah, he's a good guy on the Discord who I showed last video who has had like crazy outperformance this year. But yeah, I'm kind of leaning more towards Neos here for MLPI. And this is kind of like the midstream MLPs that basically kind of process a lot of the oil and energy and stuff like that. So it's a little bit less sensitive to like the price of oil. Definitely has a little bit, but yeah, not as sensitive. So I'm thinking I'm going to do that, just kind of get this close to nearly a 10K position here, and then eventually maybe diversify into WEI, another part of the energy trade, and then maybe potentially NDIV too, who JG3 was bringing up, which seemed really interesting as well too, and had its crazy outperformance compared to WEI and MLPI as well. WEI and NDIV are both like kind of 10% yielders too, and very consistent. Let's do MLPI for today and kind of bring that position up. So we'll do 4,092 here. And great. Awesome. So that is all the buys. So that's my full tax refund invested. That's my full unemployment check invested. So yeah, you can kind of see how the numbers adjusted here. The buying power went down to 79.8K, margin total 246.4. So this kind of stayed up, right? Given that I just invested what's there. And then margin use went back to what it was before. But I have a little bit more cash available for withdrawal, which is nice. But yeah, with that, let's just pay bills. And then after, I'll update my whole spreadsheet with everything all together and kind of see where we're at. And so if we pop over to my spreadsheet, so I only have like 2 bills today to pay. So if we pop over to the April side here, so based on the color code, I got to pay stuff by the 9th. So I already did this little payment here because I need to test the new account there, but I do need to pay a Fidelity credit card and my internet bill. So this is kind of my 2% Fidelity card. So I'm gradually phasing this out. I'm not using this as much, given that I have the Robinhood Gold card now that does 3%, which is a lot more. But yeah, I still kind of use this for certain things like Venmo transactions, because yeah, there's no cash advance fees, which is nice. But yeah, these are the two ones we're going to do today. So I'll transfer over these amounts to basically my secondary brokerage account, the cash account that I'm calling, and kind of just withdraw that after the video. Just basically pull it, right, with the account and routing numbers. So let's just do that. So let's just go through spending here. And so let's transfer from individual. So $124.92 for the internet bill from individual to my cash account here. Cool. Great. And then $393.43 for the Fidelity bill. So $393.43, double check. Cool. So doing that from the individual to the cash account. And yeah, and also I renamed that myself to call it the cash account, right? Maybe I should call that cash account individual or something, just so I know it's still an individual brokerage account. I'll transfer that over. Great. So now that's all transferred over, and then we can kind of confirm, can kind of see. Oh, it hasn't populated yet. Maybe we have to give it a little refresh here. There you go. It's $519.12 in there. So yeah, and after the video, I'm just gonna go through those bills and draw them. But yeah, then let's just kind of give these the little color code to show that they're paid for the month. And yeah, and that's the bill payment. So you can kind of see practically how I'm living out of the brokerage, right? Like I'm paying directly out of my brokerage account. And so the key thing here is that I'm not selling any assets, right, to pay these. I'm basically using margin to pay my bills. But in the background, my asset pool is growing, right? And speaking of which, let's just kind of get all our numbers updated now. So bought IAUI, MLPI, and CHPY. So let's just get those numbers updated in the sheet and then kind of see where we're at top line numbers wise. So IAUI, so that's a little average up, given that gold was up today, or compared to my cost basis at least. And MLPI, this one will be a little bit of an average up as well too. So here, and then CHPY. So this will be a average down, which is nice. So 60.18, cool. So that's all updated, and then we'll just update the margin totals as well. So you'll see that the margin total here went up, right, because of all those deposits, and then that they're all invested. And then also my margin used, which went up slightly, right, because of the bills paid. So you'll notice that this goes up exactly the amount of the bills that I drew out. So that's everything invested. So kind of let's just take a look at all the numbers after all that, right? So with that, the key thing here is my gross value has gone up, right? And then as I'm kind of drawing from margin, this doesn't get affected at all. The only thing that gets affected is the net value because of the margin used. So with all my assets right now, my gross value is sitting at 323,000.9K and margin used 167.1K for a net value right now of 156.8K. As far as my split between growth and high yield income, so right now, yeah, I'm focusing on high yield income. So that's out of the 323.9K, 156.6K of that is high yield. So 48%, and 167.3K of that is in growth. And the allocation is like 51%, just a little above it. So when we look at the margin health with after all those buys, so yeah, we went over the gross value, the margin used, the net portfolio value. If you take your blended margin maintenance and apply that to your gross portfolio value, you get this number here, so the 80.9K, right? So this my net portfolio value would have to basically drop by this number to hit a margin call. So I'm always kind of keeping this in mind and making sure I stay far away from it. So that gives me a margin buffer of 75.8K. This one's key. So if you go off of the Robinhood number, right, if you check here, it's like 48.27. So roughly this, just this is not as up to date up to the minute, right? But yeah, so 48.37%. But like I've mentioned, I don't like kind of keeping this in mind just because it makes you feel safer than you actually are. The key one I like keeping in mind is the margin buffer on the gross portfolio value. So basically taking this margin buffer here and dividing it by here. Because if your full portfolio drops by this number on the gross value, that's the equivalent of a 48.37% drop, right, on the net portfolio value, given the margin amplification and the kind of like your leverage multiple here, right? So this has actually went down compared to the other day, which is nice, from 211 to 207, which is nice. So yeah, my portfolio would have to, all these assets would have to drop 23% to trigger a margin call, right? So yeah, definitely a lot smaller than I'd like. Gradually want to get this up over time. And with that, my equity is at 48.42%, so climbing back up. And then my buying power is sitting at 78.7K. You basically get that by taking your margin total and then minusing out your margin used. And then if you take this number and half it, that's roughly your cash available for withdrawal. So 39.3K. So this is cold hard cash I could take out of the portfolio if I wanted to. But yeah, that's where the margin health's sitting at right now. And like I said, the equity, once I kind of start my new job, get my signing bonus and my regular paychecks every week, I expect this to kind of go up quite a bit and back over the 50% mark. And then my monthly dividend sitting at 4.65K after all those buys. Yeah, actually, let's just calculate out exactly roughly how much we added to the portfolio in monthly income today. So if we pop over here and kind of check the current yield on things, right? So roughly, so if we take 1152 and then go off CHPY's rough current yield, so 4409. So I made $507 a year. Divide that by 12 to get the rough month. So I added $42. And then let's kind of do another one here. So for gold times its current yield, 0.1244 divided by 12. So added a little $2 a month. And then for the last one, so the 4092 times MLPI's 14.24. So added $582 a year divided by 12. So 48.55. So let's just add all those numbers up. 2.07 plus 42.32. So added $92 and roughly 95 cents of monthly income today through all that investment, which is nice. So yeah, taking everything that I'm making, all my income, and just investing into the portfolio and building more cash flow and kind of, yeah, slowly replacing my full paycheck, right? The goal here is obviously this gross salary target. So in the intermediary, I have some like smaller goals as far as like my net monthly paycheck and things like that. But eventually this is the goal, to kind of get at least my gross salary target, right? To account for taxes and things like that. But yeah, 4.65K a month roughly now after all those investments, which is great. Almost $100 that I added to the monthly income today. And yeah, and that's the video too. That's the full paycheck investment, the full flow, fully transparent. Kind of see all my numbers, right? Everything that I have invested, nothing hidden in here. But yeah, as usual, if you want to support the channel, you can kind of do it in a bunch of different ways. You can follow me on Blossom Social. You can kind of see all my trades, all my posts. Everything gets posted there, which is nice. My Snowball, like, yeah, we were kind of going over my positions there, but you can even see this for yourself. The Snowball link, you can find it below for free. Yeah, all my numbers are here. Everything is transparent, and you can kind of poke around yourself and see all the stuff that I was showing you, basically. If you're interested, I did start a YouTube membership. So yeah, just a little $3 a month. It's really just to support the channel and help keep it running. Get priority replies to comments, emojis, and access to a private supporter only channel within the free public Discord. Yeah, no paywalls here as far as content, because I don't like doing that. I want to keep everything free for everybody. So this is just like a little extra to support the channel. And yeah, we have our first member too. Yeah, can't quite see it here, but yeah, shout out to Ruger on the Discord, who's our first member on the YouTube membership. And yeah, and then also there's Patreon too. So this is completely free. You can join for free and get my full backlog of videos. This is really just there in case there's more YouTube shenanigans. And if you like Patreon, there's the same exact membership as far as like perks. You can kind of get it there as well for the same amount. And then of course the Discord. So yeah, love going back and forth with people here. Added a few new channels this week. Added a research channel for kind of things that I'm looking into. I was looking into OVL this weekend, and this kind of prompted it from like when we were talking about WEI and MLPI and things like that in general. So I just wanted to kind of separate that out. So yeah, great little channel that people will be posting any research that they're doing that particular week, right? But yeah, you get all my trade alerts too. I'll be posting my trade alerts from this video on here as well. But yeah, a lot of different ways you can interact with the community, with me, see my trades and all that. So hope to see you there. If you appreciate all this transparency, please give a like and subscribe and hit the bell notification for future videos. And I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.